Hello there, what up my Gummy Knights, and today we have another one. This time we're going to be debunking Carthu's Dojo.
Heavy is the hand that wears the crown.
Now basically, before we get any more further into this, I want to preface this by saying I actually did a video on Carthu, but when I went back over the video in which I was critiquing, it turns out that he actually did say something that very much mirrored what I was critiquing him for in my video, so it was just me getting it wrong.
Note: the Gummy Bear King is referring to the fact that Carthu in that video actually said things in which the Gummy Bear King agreed with, thus making his critique invalid, as Carthu didn't actually say the wrong things the Gummy Bear King thought he did.
But I have not got it wrong this time, and I will be playing the clip so you guys can also see that I did not get it wrong and my point of contention when going against him right now. So I was watching this video about what if Broly listened to Goku, and I pretty much got about halfway through it. So far the video, and this is kind of like again one of those what if videos, so I'm not coming against people who do what ifs or whatever, and it's fine the way they write their own story, but he tries to add in a sense of authenticity to his video, right? Tries to provide substance for why he's doing a certain decision that he's doing with his particular what if, by suggesting things that simply aren't true. And there's so much evidence that actually contradicts it that is unfunny, and it would make me question on whether or not he actually ended up watching the Broly movie or even saw the Tournament of Power saga, due to how, let's just say, loosey-goosey his explanation is. But basically he gets to a point into his video, or his what if, saying that the reason why Golden Frieza from the Broly movie would be able to take on two Super Saiyan Blues, but not only take them on, overpower them, is essentially because he was able to take a beating from Broly for an hour.
Frieza turns into his golden form and begins to take on both Goku and Vegeta at the same time. Frieza's power has grown since the Tournament of Power. In the main timeline, he was able to take a beating from Super Saiyan Broly for an hour. Together, both Super Saiyan Blue Goku and Vegeta couldn't handle a beating by Super Saiyan Broly for a few minutes, let alone an hour. So, Goku and Vegeta turn into their Super Saiyan Blue form, and while that helps, they are still just too weak to fight Frieza.
You're so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
That's really his whole excuse. There is absolutely nothing to really back this up or substantiate the claim. Not necessarily that it was untrue that Frieza took that beating for an hour, but that this makes him stronger than Goku and Vegeta. In fact, the movie itself vehemently disagrees with that, and as far as like when you go from the Tournament of Power stuff, it also disagrees with that. Because this is pretty much taking place right after the Tournament of Power, so we'll go ahead and kick that stuff off and get it right out the way. As far as like the scaling is showcased, and of course there'll be clips running through here to show you guys the situations and exactly what I'm talking about. As far as like the scaling goes here, that is pathologically absurd. Frieza's scaling pretty much stops at a certain point towards the end of the Tournament of Power, and it is clear that even people like Android 17 are somewhat comparable to him in power. Now granted, he is stamina drained and heavily injured, but that doesn't make any much more of a difference when it comes to scaling upwards, because we do see the character still able to power up. I mean, look at Jiren, for instance. He was heavily damaged and completely weakened by the onslaught that he was given by Master Ultra Instinct Goku, and even when Frieza and 17 did a little bit more damage onto him as well. But he was still able to power up more and even overpowered both of them with seemingly little to no effort. Yet here's Goku, if you also don't talk about the damage thing as well, and the stamina drain thing, way more than what Frieza is. And yet he is basically holding back this barrier that is placed up in order for them to hold off Jiren's attack by himself, essentially. And then together, really more so through the effort of Goku, because those two by themselves are getting completely overpowered, he is able to push it back and cancel out the attack. So, but I'll contribute it to all three of them, even though mainly, just like with, take that Superman feat, right? Where he's like carrying the earth with Wonder Woman, I believe like Martian Manhunter or whatever. And you know, but most people would probably contribute most of the strength lifting in that to him, and then it's like, let's give them a piece of it, right? So that's how we would do for this one. Basically, it's mostly Goku, but Android 17 and Frieza get a piece of it. Goku, even while completely drained and weakened, scales above that. Now, I know somebody's going to try to promote the idea that him and Frieza work together in order to really take out Jiren. But let's be honest here. Again, you're talking about scaling-wise and how much power would be scaled upward and how much you're going for. Goku could not even transform into a Super Saiyan to show how much more weaker he is than what Frieza. Frieza can still access enough of his power, maybe not turn to his golden form, but he's never necessarily really need that. Whereas Goku is flickering in and out and barely is able to grapple with Super Saiyan, yet he is still doing pretty much most of the work, while Frieza's getting kind of like smacked around and pretty much punished. And as far as what happened afterwards, we know for a fact that Frieza himself pretty much states that he does not like to train. He only ever even really put in effort of training between what happened with Goku on Planet Namek, but nothing else would suggest that he would do that otherwise, and in fact nothing suggests he did that after the Tournament of Power. So now we're coming back to Carthu's video where he basically says that, oh well, Frieza got stronger at the Tournament of Power. That is very, very circumstantial when it comes to evidence that can be provided for that, because we know he doesn't like to train, and not to mention, he would have had his schedule filled pretty much conquering throughout the universe, and nothing suggests that he wasn't mainly focused on rebuilding his empire and making the Frieza Force much stronger. Not only do we see that pretty much at the end of the Tournament of Power, but even at the end of the Broly movie, where they kind of like showcase where he is going for and what he is doing. Whereas he could be training necessarily to get stronger, and we'll get more on that later as to why this further debunks him, he doesn't actually do that because of specific reasons, and also given the fact of what he is trying to necessarily do. Again, not really a trained type of guy, whereas Goku and Vegeta, that would have been most certainly true. In fact, at the end of the series, we do see them sparring and stuff with each other again, so most likely they would have continued training, and even at the beginning of the Broly movie, we do see them training. This is just objectively so, that they would have most likely gotten stronger after the Tournament of Power. Whereas Frieza, you could try to suggest that, but it is very, very loosey-goosey, okay? Again, it's very loosey-goosey. So that is already pretty much thrown out the window and debunked because it's too subjective, right? You can't try to pass that off as, oh, well, here's an objective reason as to why I'm saying in my what if, this is why this would happen, when you're not using something that would be labeled in any context as objective. That is very subjective because we know Frieza's character. We know how he is, we know how he operates. And even the movie and even the show itself showcases that he probably wouldn't have been doing something like training. Really makes no sense for him to do that. I mean, when he has a lot of time on his hand, like when he's stuck in hell, yeah, sure. But otherwise, not really. It's not really a thing that he would be necessarily doing to any extreme degree. Especially not enough to where he'd be able to take on two Super Saiyan Blues at the same time who would be maybe not even significantly stronger, but stronger enough to where you would be able to showcase a noticeable difference. Especially after the scaling upward that Vegeta and Goku got during the Tournament of Power and after the Tournament of Power. How much more stronger they were. I mean, come on. That's absolutely absurd. Then he tries to suggest that, well, Frieza took a beating for an hour, right? What does that have to do with anything in comparison to strength? There is nothing to suggest that that beating that he took makes him anywhere near stronger than Goku or Vegeta. In fact, Goku and Vegeta, on the other hand, were not only still able to contend with Broly and even do damage to him while fighting him, including in that Super Saiyan form, although it was very minimum, they were still able to keep up and tag with him, whereas Frieza couldn't do shit. He just got absolutely destroyed. When it comes to what we're being shown here, okay, it's clear that Frieza is not tanking any of these attacks. He's not outwitting these attacks. He's not able to overpower or contend with him in any conceivable way. He's just taking a beating. Nothing to suggest that Goku and Vegeta could not have done the same. Basically, what they did was left so that way they can formulate the plan in order to be able to beat him. That was the design idea. They could have just stayed there and kept taking a beating. But that would have really made no sense for them to do. Why keep wearing themselves out? That makes no sense. That is ridiculous. Nothing is there to showcase that scaling is even remotely plausible. And this takes me to the end of the movie, which further confirms this, when Frieza outright pretty much states the idea that no matter how strong he may grow, after seeing, sensing, and knowing the power of the Saiyans, he could never surpass them. He outright says this. And the whole idea is that he still wants to use Broly in order to be able to combat the Saiyans. That's why he said that they will not go to Vampa in order to capture Broly again and bring him back, because they want him to be domesticated. Chi, Lai, and Lemon are going to domesticate him, help him get his power under control, as long with Goku, but Frieza doesn't know that. But basically get him under control, that way he can go back and then use him for his world conquest. So whenever he does go back to Earth, since he knows that he's not strong enough and will never be strong enough in order to be able to combat against the Saiyans, he can just send Broly, someone who most likely and obviously has showcased an ability to be able to combat against them.
You're enough, my lord. It appears both the traitors are with Broly. Then let us leave them alone for the time being. We'll allow them to domesticate the brute and bring his mind under control. Once he can release that immense power without losing his senses, I'll come back for him. That's when he'll become my mightiest warrior.
Do you think that would work, Lord Frieza?
I certainly hope that it does for all of our sakes. No matter how much I manage to raise my battle power, my most hated foes, Goku and Vegeta, remain triumphant. I would like to have someone at my disposal to massacre them.
So Carthu, I would have to ask you, did you see the Broly movie? Because all the evidence points against the idea that Frieza's anywhere near. Even if you want to write this what if and say that, oh well, maybe because Frieza was able to take some hits and stuff like that, you know, whereas Goku and them were able to take hits and not actually be all that damaged, or were able to still contend with Broly, even for a little bit until Goku had to plan to go fuse, and Frieza just gets outright damaged and is overpowered instantly, and even when he goes golden form, it makes no difference. Sure, you could just ignore all of that and say, well, maybe Frieza's close enough to them to where this won't be an overpowering match on an individual case, because having two blues together is also dumb, because that would be a significant overpowering, because Frieza would stand no chance with both of them going at him. But let's just say that Frieza is somewhat close to the level. Let's even put him like he's just somewhat under Vegeta, right? Enough to where him and Vegeta can have a great sparring session and none of them would be the clear winner, and maybe Vegeta could pull out a technique that could give Frieza off guard, or Frieza could actually end up hurting Vegeta significantly by tricking him. You know, then be able to kick him out the way, but you know, Goku's still stronger, but you know, stronger than both, but not to any significant degree. Even if you want to put Frieza right there, still wouldn't make a difference when it comes to the whole scaling and what's going on there, because having two Super Saiyan Blues still doesn't make sense. Hopefully he understands this now that this video has showcased, and hopefully that all of you guys understand, because I'm assuming that all of you who are watching this video saw the Broly movie and saw the Tournament of Power, so you know that what Carthu's saying is absolute nonsense. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
Ain't nobody gonna do for you. Pull the trigger.
Maybe you should pull the fucking trigger.
Hey guys, kind of like a post-recording thing here because I forgot to mention it in the main video. He also further continues the nonsense and the BS, trying to keep it as friendly as I possibly can. He also continues the BS by saying that not only is it Super Saiyan Blue Goku, Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, but Ikari Broly. All three of them, and Frieza's just smacking them around like it's nothing. Now, whereas I can somewhat agree with him due to how we saw it progress in terms of the movie, that Broly in that form probably would not be at the Super Saiyan Blue level, Broly quickly shows a level of adaptation even before he goes Super Saiyan. I believe he is still within his Ikari form when he is fighting Blue Goku. I could be mistaken about that, so don't exactly quote me on it. But again, like, I'm pretty much editing the clips in, so it'll be shown whether or not I was right or wrong about that. But the point is, he quickly would be able to adapt to get on the same level as Goku and Vegeta. I've already basically proven in the main video that they would shit stump both of them, let alone as an individual, one of them would still shit stump Frieza. And then have both of them, but then have Broly on top of that, and then he even had the audacity to say that Blue Evolution with that, as well as Kaioken with that. That's right, Kaioken Goku, Blue Evolution Vegeta, and Ikari Broly, all up against Golden Frieza. They only are strong enough to make it even.
What? What the fuck?
Wow, absolutely ridiculous. I shouldn't even have to go into why that's ridiculous. I already proved that basically, at best, you could say that Frieza was somewhat close to Blue level, if you really wanted to stretch it. But to then give Goku a 20 times increase on that, make him objectively 20 times stronger, and he's already stronger, I already proved that. Pretty much said Frieza, at best, in his golden form, would pretty much be around Blue Vegeta, maybe. If you're stretching it. But to have Vegeta go Blue Evolution, a limit-breaking power considered to be Vegeta's own version of Ultra Instinct in terms of its ability and power status. And I'm talking about like him first going Ultra Instinct, Goku going Ultra Instinct Omen. I'm talking about that. but something compared to that?
However, Broly in his Ikari form isn't even as strong as Super Saiyan Blue Goku or Vegeta, so this didn't really change the battle in any noticeable way. It almost seems like Frieza is just toying with them, to be honest. Vegeta and Goku pull back and allow Broly to take over for a moment, and the two power up. Goku uses Kaioken times 20, and Vegeta transforms into Super Saiyan Blue Evolution. The two rejoin the fight, and it's starting to become more even, but Frieza still has the advantage.
Yeah, Carthu, this was not good at all, buddy. Not good at all. But as far as your what if goes, right, when it comes to your subjective opinion of how the story would play out, that's perfectly fine. But if you try to say, here's an objective fact to bolster that, I have to come against you when you're spreading misinformation and nonsense like this. Anyway, for real this time, catch you guys in the next one. Sorry I had to add that in. I completely pretty much had forgotten it because that was pretty much that ridiculous.
It's ridiculous!